Hello, I'm eating a lolly. I'm so sorry. This was a mistake. Welcome. I'm going to show you how I think about EQing vocals in Studio One. This obviously will apply to any DAW, but Studio One specifically, I'll use Studio One plugins. My name is Nick Rollo. I'm a producer and mixing engineer from Perth. My work has gotten millions of streams around the world. I love editing and mixing vocals. I feel like that's kind of my best strength. So let's do it. Let's have a look. I hope you find this helpful. The song is called Optical Delusion by Philip LaRosa. This is the final mixed and mastered version.
Walking forward on a backward train. Every hello reverberates as never again. Love's cruel illusion, a painful confusion. I reach out, but you're an optical delusion.
So what I'm going to do is duplicate the lead vocal. I'm going to mute the original. Let's call this chorus test. I'm going to remove everything except for RX11 mouth declick. This is obviously going to change the balance. That's okay. So before I do anything, let's just talk about what the sort of philosophy behind EQing a vocal is, or just EQing anything. I don't think you should be following like rules. I mean, I know I've like given rules in the past and I've got cheat sheets and stuff, but you just don't need to do stuff. Like EQ is a tool that we use when we need to use it. Some vocals I barely touch. I will often do roll-offs to get rid of like really low frequencies. We don't really need them. If the vocal is bright, I don't need to make it brighter. If it's dark in a pleasant way, I might leave it dark. If the low mid frequencies feel good, I'm not going to touch them. If there are problems, then I might touch them. I feel like you see a lot of people on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or anywhere saying, do this, EQ like this, EQ like that. But the thing is, we don't need to. EQ is a tool. It's like distortion. You might want to distort a vocal or you might not. Case by case. Often we will end up EQing, but the moves that we make, don't just do them. Listen. If it sounds like you need them, do it. So I'm going to pull up Pro EQ. Also, I don't have my room calibration on, which is Sound ID. So I'm kind of listening slightly blind here, but we should be alright. Let's just solo the vocal.
Walking forward on a backward train. Every hello reverberates as never again.
So one thing I can hear, there is this like low frequency that is annoying, and part of that could be the space that I'm listening in is sort of amplifying that. That's okay. Let's pretend that that isn't the case. Let's pretend that I'm listening and it's all calibrated or the room is perfect and I'm hearing a low thing in this region. I don't like it. I'm probably going to get rid of that. Brightness, unsure. By removing some frequencies, we will naturally make it brighter as you change the weighting of a sound. It naturally will just be brighter, right? If you add heaps of low end, it'll feel less bright. It's a scale.
Walking forward on a backward train.
So it's that.
Every hello
And basically the way I'm thinking about EQ is the broader the cue, the broader the move is. I don't want to push it as hard. If it was like a really, really specific frequency, I might go a little bit harder on it, push it further. With a broader movement, probably that's too much. Let's say just like here. I'm not going to go as deep because it's going to obviously impact more stuff, but it's also, in my opinion, like slightly more transparent. It's less, it's more of like a slow movement rather than this like crazy cut.
Walking forward on a backward train. Every hello reverberates as never again. Walking forward on a backward train.
Okay, that's feeling alright. Let's there's also this little frequency around here as well that I think is also kind of catching my ears in a slightly unpleasant way.
Walking forward on a backward train. Every hello reverberates as never again. Love's cruel illusion, a painful confusion.
To me, that's kind of cleaned it up pretty nicely. I'm just going to roll off a little bit up to, 200, let's say.
Walking forward on a backward train. Every hello reverberates as never again.
How hard you roll off the lows, if you want more bass in your vocal, keep it lower. If you want to get more of that like pop pristine kind of vibe, you could roll it higher. I feel like that light vocal can sometimes sound pretty cool, but for this, I don't really want that, so I'm just going to leave it around 200, I think.
Walking forward on a backward train.
So I have lost a bit of weight, but it does sound a bit cleaner. You know whether that's a good thing? This is why we use our ears, right? Because every voice is so different. So I'm just going to crank up the vocal so I can hear it in context.
Walking forward on a backward train. Every hello reverberates as never again. Love's cruel illusion, a painful confusion.
Feels better. We could add some air. You know, it sounds fairly bright to me right now. We might not need to. Let's just like try it and see if we enjoy it.
Walking forward on a backward train. Every hello reverberates as never again. Love's cruel illusion, a painful confusion. I reach out, but you're an optical delusion.
I find adding air can sound really good. It can make something sound more expensive, but it can also be a little bit intense. I feel like this EQ is kind of adding a bit of like, whoa, that's not pleasant high end. I'll solo and listen.
Walking forward on a backward train.
I think if we added it, just a tiny bit would work quite nicely, especially with this shelf, so...
Walking forward on a backward train.
Yeah, I don't think I need much, just a little bit of air. The last thing that I'm probably going to think about with EQ, and like this is already a fair amount of moves, really is just sibilance. Do I want to duck any sibilance before I would DS it, you know, kind of DS with dynamic EQ, because if I do, then that might make the DS work a little bit less hard. I usually do this with Pro Q4 because it's got like spectral processing, which is great for this kind of work, but we can just use a dynamic EQ basically. So this one, click dynamic, opens up all this stuff. We'll listen and see when Phil says an S, what happens.
Walking forward on a backward train. Every hello reverberates as never again. Love's cruel illusion.
Honestly, I'm not really too bothered by it, but if I was...
Walking forward, love's cruel illusion.
Let's say it's there, like some vocals when an S is said, there's like a crazy sibilant spike. You'll hear it, you'll see it. If that's the case, what I would do is dynamic EQ, and then I would kind of range it like pretty intensely, let's say 8 dB. I don't want to be going the whole way down when it hits, but I just want to have the sort of option to go down. This is kind of my thought. Oh, I don't even know how to... Oh, there we go. So this will show me how deep it's going to go, and then the threshold, I'm just going to pull it down until it's like going halfway.
A painful confusion.
So it's not really working as well here because the S isn't as like loud as it probably would be in other vocals. Usually what will happen is you'll find a threshold point where it's not getting triggered by everything, but when that S happens, or K or T, whatever the sound is, then it triggers and locks down. So here it's not quite working as well as that. But I mean, maybe that's a good thing to do still.
A painful confusion. I reach out.
I am pulling a lot of highs out of it though. It kind of gets darker.
A painful confusion.
Point of this video is don't go crazy unless you have to. We can obviously go crazy. Like this is a pretty big dip potentially. I generally do tackle lows, so I'll tackle kind of around 200 or around 500. I find a lot of voices do have problematic stuff there, but I'm always listening. If I don't need to do it, I don't. Don't just do stuff because you have to do it. Do it because it is warranted. It's basically the point of this video, so I hope that's helpful. Pro EQ3 is good. It has some really cool features. I really don't use it at all because I've got other EQ plugins, but if you're using Studio One or whatever DAW you use, stock is generally pretty fine. I used this for a long time until I got more functional ones, I suppose, or with more features. If you found this video helpful, hit like, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. There's a bunch of freebies linked below. There's a bunch of free Studio One presets for producing and mixing, some fun little effecty things. There's also a free vocal mixing cheat sheet and a free Studio One course, just like a basic producing in Studio One course. I might make a more in-depth Studio One course at some point. Probably won't be free, but if that sounds interesting, comment something about it. There's also a vocal mixing masterclass, which has a lot of in-depth stuff about my vocal mixing process, as well as a bunch of real-world examples of me remixing vocals and, walking through my decision making. So if that sounds interesting, you can go check that out as well. And yeah, catch you next video. Have a good one.